SpaceX Starlink satellites. The wealthy CEO of SpaceX currently launched satellites into space, intending to reach as many people as possible with high-speed broadband internet. When your mind wanders to the billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, you probably think of his space exploration company SpaceX, electric vehicle firm Tesla, or Saturday Night Live hosting gig. We will not say anything about his history of stirring up controversy on social media, or smoking weed with Joe Rogan. Perhaps you only know him as one of the world's wealthiest people. However, there's a lot more to this man. Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Before we proceed with this video, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Kindly click on the notification bell to get updates on our exciting content. In today's video, we will reveal all there is to know about SpaceX Starlink satellites. You may be unfamiliar with Starlink, a firm that intends to offer internet connections to practically everybody on the planet through an increasing network of private satellites drifting overhead. Starlink cranked up the pace in 2021 after years of development within SpaceX and obtaining about $885.5 million in award monies from the Federal Communications Commission at the end of 2020. After 3 years of triumphant launches, the project reached 1,000 satellites sent into orbit in January. By June, SpaceX estimated that the number had risen to over 1,800. Musk's business announced in February that Starlink was serving more than 10,000 subscribers. Musk claims that Starlink has sent over 100,000 satellite internet terminals to consumers in 14 countries, after widening pre-orders to even more potential customers and examining the possibility of offering in-flight Wi-Fi for passenger aircraft. Starlink is scheduled to reach global serviceability in the fall of 2021, according to SpaceX. However, regional availability will be contingent on regulatory approval. Musk assured an audience at Mobile World Congress in June 2021 that Starlink would be available worldwide starting in August, except for the North and South Poles. Musk announced in September that Starlink would finish its initial beta phase in October, indicating that the service is still ramping up and expanding, despite a backlog of prospective users waiting to get equipment and begin service. There are some issues with Starlink. The influence of Starlink's low Earth orbit satellites on night sky vision has been raised by scientific community members. Meanwhile, competitors such as Viasat, HughesNet, and Amazon's Project Kuiper have taken notice of Starlink's growth, causing a flurry of regulatory wrangling and attempts to stifle Musk's progress. All of these make Starlink a company worth watching in 2021. For the time being, here's everything you need to know about it. Let's begin at the beginning. What precisely is Starlink? Starlink is the name of SpaceX's developing network, or constellation, of orbital satellites. It is technically a division within SpaceX. Following the start of the network in 2015, the first prototype satellites were launched into orbit in 2018. SpaceX has officially deployed over 1,000 Starlink satellites into space in the years afterward, using the relaunchable, landable Falcon 9 orbital rocket. SpaceX launched 60 satellites into space from Orbiting Laboratory in January for the first Starlink mission of 2021. The constellation presently contains 1,791 satellites, after the most recent launch on September 13th, which puts 51 satellites into orbit. Some of the satellites are experiments, or non-operational units that aren't part of the network's operational system. And those satellites can supply internet access to my home? Yes, that is the concept. Like other satellite internet providers, such as HughesNet and Viasat, Starlink intends to sell internet connections to those in rural areas and every other part of the world who don't have access to high-speed broadband. According to the Starlink website, Starlink is perfectly suited for places of the globe where connectivity has traditionally been a struggle. Because it is not constrained by traditional ground infrastructure, Starlink can bring high-speed broadband internet to places where it previously has been unstable or unavailable. To establish the connection, all you need to do is install a tiny satellite dish in your home to receive the signal and send the bandwidth to your router. Mounting options for yards, rooftops, and the exterior of your home are available from the company. There's also an iOS and Android application called Starlink that employs augmented reality to assist clients in choosing the optimal position and location for their receivers. Only a few regions in the United States, Canada, and other nations have Starlink service. Still, the service has directly sent over 100,000 satellite terminals to consumers. And the coverage map will continue to expand as new satellites join the constellation. Starlink intends to eventually cover the entire globe with a usable, high-speed Wi-Fi signal. What is the acceleration of Starlink's internet service? Over the next several months, users may expect data speeds ranging from 50 to 150 megabits per second, and latency ranging from 20 to 40 milliseconds in most places, according to Starlink's website, which also warns of brief intervals of no connectivity. Data speed, latency, and uptime will improve considerably as we launch more satellites, add more ground stations, and upgrade our networking software. Musk stated in February that by the end of 2021, the service's maximum speed will have doubled to 300 megabits per second. John Kim from CNET signed up for the service and also has been testing this out in a few different areas. He had an average download speed of 78 megabits per second and a latency of 36 milliseconds at home. How much does Starlink set you back in expenses? Customers interested in participating in Starlink's Better Than Nothing beta program can now place pre-orders. The service costs $99 per month, plus taxes and fees, as well as a $499 upfront purchase. For the mountable satellite dish and router, you'll need to install at home. Customers' purchases are being taken on a first-come, first-served basis, and some pre-orders could take up to 6 months to fulfill, according to Starlink. Although $99 per month for an internet connection is a lot of money, especially for one that isn't nearly as swift as a fiber connection, Musk believes it will be worth it for people who have never had access to a reliable, fast connection. Starlink has no plans to expand speed or pricing levels, according to SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell, who recently spoke at a satellite technology symposium, to keep the service's pricing as simple as possible. Shotwell also predicted that the $499 upfront cost of the receiver dish will decrease in future years as SpaceX refines its dish design to reduce production costs. The new version of the dish, which was approved by the FCC in November, is smaller and less expensive to construct than the previous one, though customers will still have to pay a $499 upfront fee to use it. Where can I get Starlink? Despite promises to cover the entire globe by this fall, Starlink's service is now confined to a few regions in a few countries. But as more satellites join the constellation, the coverage map will expand significantly. According to Musk, the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Austria, Belgium, Ireland, Denmark, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, and Portugal are among the countries now served by the developing network of low Earth orbit satellites, in addition to Italy, Poland, Spain, and Chile. Starlink's pre-sale agreement contains options for requesting services in other countries. There's still a long way to go. Starlink will almost certainly require at least 10,000 satellites in space before it can claim to service the majority of Earth. SpaceX has also shown signals that it wants as considerable as 42,000 satellites in the constellation. At the moment, coverage is confined to locations between 45 and 53 degrees north latitude, so it's just about a fourth of the way there. Regardless, Musk remains upbeat about the Starlink timeline. Musk indicated that Starlink will be available worldwide in August, with the exclusion of North and South Poles, during an interview at the Mobile World Congress in 2021. Shotwell had previously expressed a similar attitude in June, predicting that Starlink would achieve global serviceability this fall. We've successfully delivered about 1,800 satellites, and once all of those satellites reach operational orbit, we'll have continuous global coverage. So that should be around September, she said. In September, a Twitter user inquired about the status of Starlink's beta phase. Musk replied, "Next month." The service was available to 0.08% of Americans as of December 2022, when Starlink was just commencing its beta, according to the FCC, which recently added Starlink to its roster of broadband providers. Customers had a permit to maximum download speeds of 100 megabits per second and upload speeds of 10 megabits per second at the time. Future FCC disclosures will provide a clear picture of how much the service expanded in a busy 2021. We'll update this when those announcements arrive in 2022. What is the point of satellites in the first place? Isn't fiber the fastest option? Fiber, or internet supplied by ground-laid fiber optic cable, provides far faster upload and download rates than satellite internet. But, as corporations like Google will tell you, constructing the infrastructure required to get fiber to people's homes is anything but quick. That's not to argue that launching satellites into orbit is simple. But with fewer sharp-elbowed competitors and a lot less red tape to navigate, there's every reason to assume that services like Starlink will reach the majority of underserved regions much before fiber can. According to recent FCC filings, Starlink could eventually be used as a dedicated phone service as well. Remember, this is Elon Musk we're talking about. SpaceX is the only company on Earth with a reusable rocket capable of delivering freight after freight into orbit. That's a big advantage in the commercial space race. In addition, Musk indicated in 2018 that Starlink will help SpaceX generate cash in order to fund the company's long-term objective of creating a base on Mars. If that day comes, SpaceX will undoubtedly attempt to establish a satellite constellation on Mars. Customers of Starlink could be used as test subjects for future Martian wireless networks. That's it on SpaceX Starlink satellites. What do you think? Do you feel you would be getting this for your home when it becomes available in your area? Let us know your observations and thoughts in the comments section below. If this video was insightful for you, then go on and like this video. Please kindly subscribe to our channel and click on the bell button for more of our updates.